What's up, guys? This is the 2024 Masters Nationals road race. This is a preview from the very end, and I'm going to take you through this race and show you exactly how I won my first national championship. So I started recording here coming into the halfway point. This is lap 2 completed of 4 total. Right now I'm sitting on Daniel Holloway's wheel. This dude has won like 20 national titles. This is the men's 35-39 national championship road race, by the way. So situation right here is that there are some riders up the road, and they've got about a 45-second gap at this point, I think. So I'm doing my best right here to just basically stay on the wheels, make sure that these guys don't get up the road without me. But as you'll see, this is going to come back together with everyone behind us, though I think that the main group over the course of the day, as you'll see, basically just gets smaller and smaller as we go on. So here we are back at the front of this group, and I want to show you this just to give you an idea kind of how Masters racing at the Nationals level is maybe just a little bit different than racing kind of within other groups. So as you can see, we're on a little climb here, and a lot of these riders are still more or less willing to like do work on the front, but in the main group like this, there is not a ton of cohesion, and so the breakaway that's up the road right now, they have a big advantage in that they have, I think, 4 riders that are most likely working together, working as a group. And our group here in the chase is pretty dysfunctional, though at this early stage, again, we're at just after the halfway point, there are a lot of like eager and willing legs in the group still, guys willing to burn matches to try and get us back into contact with the front. So a note about this course, maybe. This took place in an Army base called Fort Eisenhower, which is just outside of Augusta, Georgia. As you can see, we got a pretty rolling, hilly course. I think there's like 1,000 feet of elevation gain every lap. We're doing 4 laps, each of which are 14 miles long, so that brings the total to like just under 60 miles. So yeah, we got a couple of guys here on the front. You can see I'm just kind of trying to, in terms of my tactics here, keep my powder dry, basically, spend as little energy as possible. This rider that's on the front right here, I know that this dude was on the podium last year. I think he's from the Northeast. And this dude is willing to do a bunch of work all day, basically. And so, yeah, staying behind riders that have experience, that know what they're doing is good, but again, I don't want to do too much work here. So I think you can see him sort of flicking his elbow, and I'm not going to come around. I'm not doing much of anything in response to that. I'm totally cool with letting him do this tempo on the front, and as you can see, other riders from behind me are going to come through and keep this rotation going. But yeah, like I said, a lot of dysfunction in this group. You can see me just basically dropping anchor right here, moving backwards. Dude that just went through up there is Sebastian Cano. I know that he's a rider I need to watch out for. He won this race and the crit last year. So yeah, another thing that's super important, I would say, at racing at nationals level events is like choose your wheels wisely. You know, there's a real range of experience levels in these races. You can see that guy that just came through is dropping anchor like me. But yeah, if the move that's going up the road isn't super dangerous, you can see that I'm just gonna like keep it pretty chill, do as little work as I possibly can, and let these dudes kind of burn themselves up. So I'm gonna jump ahead here. We're gonna go into the final lap, and that is really where the fireworks start going in this group behind. As you'll see, the move up the road has got 1 minute and 5 seconds as we're coming into the final lap. So things are already strung out a little bit here. I think we just went past the 2 kilometers to go sign. you can see that it was just a beautiful day in Augusta. Kind of ideal. Super hot though, hot and humid as you might expect in Georgia in July. So, so dealing with the heat was a huge thing, as you'll see. A lot of guys, you know, as we're coming through the start-finish, are going to be grabbing feeds from their support crew. I myself, I was here solo, so I just basically packed as much ice as I could into some ice socks, got those on my front and back at the beginning, and carried a ton of water. So as the race went on, I feel like that was a smaller and smaller disadvantage, me having extra weight on such a climby course. But yeah, we're doing pretty good speed here. You can see we're kind of coming through this cradle, and this is where the uphill begins. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're gonna see the 1 kilometer to go sign up here on the right. Group is still looking pretty good here. You know, a lot of guys again are willing to get onto the front. This start finish is pretty important, and it has strung us out on previous laps. There's the 1K to go sign. So yeah, this will give you an idea of exactly what the finish of this course looks like, and this is just a critical moment at the end of the race. On this second to last lap, it's not as important, but you can see I'm kind of staying towards the front here. And here we are kind of cresting this climb. You can see the power numbers that we're doing. You can see my heart rate down there in the bottom left. And as you can see up here on the right, a bunch of people with ice socks with fresh bottles for riders. As mentioned, I'm just doing this race solo, so I'm just kind of staying out of trouble, keeping to the left, and staying near the front on this climb. So when you get up to the top here, you take this right-hand corner. There's maybe 200 meters to go until the finish line. And I'm not sure if you can hear it in the background audio there, but the announcer tells us that we've got 1 minute and 5 seconds to the group of riders up the road. So that's the situation. I think there are 4 guys up there. One of them is this dude named Josh Lipka, who is a strong time trialist. And so yeah, at this point in the race, you know, it was still uncertain whether or not we would be able to bring that group back. So we are about 1/4 of the way through this final lap, and you can see that we're on sort of downhill here. We're doing something like 40 miles an hour. And if you keep your eyes peeled on the left, you will see the first attack that's really like consequential. I'm gonna go here on the left. And it's that rider right there in pink, the Cleveland Cycling Academy rider. I think his name is Christopher Uberti, if I'm not mistaken. Spoiler alert, he will end up getting second on the day, but you'll see him start to make his move here. And like I said, this is the first of some of the more consequential attacks. So here we are, we're on this climb. Again, this is kind of when the fireworks start in the group behind here. So you can see my power numbers. You know, this group is not holding much back anymore. This is when the race is ultimately going to be decided here. So still a little surgy, right? Like hard accelerations and then coasting. But that first rider that attacked has broken the elastic, as they say. So he is closing the gap between us and the leaders. You can't really see it in frame right now, but this part of the course is what I call the sight line. So it has like a big up and down hill, and you can see quite a ways up the road. As I get to the front here, had to hit some brakes, lost a lot of momentum, but I am now invested in this move, and I'm putting in some big digs here to try and go with that move that's going up into the leading group if I can. Yeah, this dude in front of me, you may notice, he had a tendency to kind of look uncomfortable in his saddle. He's readjusting all the time. We've got Daniel Holloway here coming off the front, looking around. He's a super smart rider. You can see my heart rate here, thanks to the heat in part, and the power that we're doing is pretty high. So you'll see what I do here when I get to the front of this group. So I'm not attacking this group, just kind of trying to keep things steady, trying to keep this group together. Don't want to make this bridge solo quite yet. And these riders, as you can see, still pulling through, still doing work. But there are some tired legs in this group, so I'm not going to stick around here for too much longer. So as you're about to see here, I get to the front, and instead of bringing them along with me for the ride this time, we are going to attack. So standing up on this uphill, putting some watts down, trying to make my way up to some of these strung out riders. So you can't quite see it, but there are a few guys that have fallen off from the breakaway group up here. That time trialist Josh Lipka that I mentioned, he has fallen off. So there are a few riders in between. We had that rider from our group making the bridge attempt solo. So here I am kind of in between, coming over the crest of this hill, and this is that far sightline portion of the course that I mentioned. I look behind me and Daniel Holloway is on my wheel. I tried to get him to come through with a flick of the elbow, and everyone, including myself, is feeling the heat. They're feeling the efforts from throughout the day. So I get no help. I get small on that downhill, and as you'll see here, I'm about to put in another big effort to try and tag on to this group. So as I'm catching these guys, here you have it. We're entering into this final feed zone. They had a few guys out here, thankfully, with just plastic water bottles. Making contact with this group, and I know I need to grab one of those water bottles, and I'm just going to dump on myself. So I get in front of those guys, grab one of these, dump it on my neck and head, and toss it, and now here I am right back on the gas. I can see these riders up here, and I didn't know it yet, but this is basically the front of the race. So that moment that you just saw, that feed zone, is critical, was critical. The group behind me is essentially splintering. The guys are falling off, and so this is the race being made right here. So here we are back on the wheel of this Cleveland Cycling Academy rider who made the solo bridge. He's got one rider in front of him, and just in front of these two is the lead group of the race. So we're going to glom onto these riders, and as you'll see, this group immediately is cohesive. Still on the gas here on these little climbs, as you can see, but we are about to start rotating together in a group, and this is the very front of the race. So as you can see, we've got the lead vehicle out in front of us here, doing a turn, not doing a ton of work, but keeping the speed high, just trying to keep this group together, keep us working together, keep everyone happy. And yeah, as you'll hear, I'm actually in the race not sure yet that this is the front. I end up asking one of these riders how many more of them are up the road, to which he responds that there are none. So that is my realization. Here I am asking the question. My realization that I have a shot at winning this one. So we're going to skip ahead to the finale and the final few kilometers here. So as you can see, we've got this lead moto to our left. He is basically letting us know that we've got a 45-second gap to the rider or riders that are behind us. So we have essentially made the winning breakaway at this point, and here I am on this dude's wheel. I don't actually know this guy's name. I think he ends up third place, so you'll see him on the podium shot at the end. Super strong. He was doing these monster pulls here at the end, so I was happy just to let him do his thing. He flicks me through here. We're not quite close enough to the finish where the cohesion has totally collapsed, but that will be what happens at the end, as it does. So just doing my little turn here, again trying to keep everyone happy, keep us together, staying on top of my fluids. Okay, so this is kind of where the games start to begin. We are in the final probably 5 kilometers of the race, maybe 3 kilometers. You can see the guys behind are just letting these gaps open up. We've got that one rider in the black who's now kind of staying on it. He's going off the front. I'm not particularly interested in chasing that down myself. Instead, I just slot in right behind this dude who I have been behind the whole time. We've got this left-hand corner coming up. So we are very close to the finish. This is where the finishing climb basically starts. So just chilling, letting these guys try and close the gap. But as you can see, he's got, 5 seconds at least on this chasing group. And we are about to go past the 1K to go sign. So we are in the final moments of this race. So as you just saw, this rider in front of me gave me a little flick. He'd been doing work on the front, but I'm not as willing to come through right here. Still doing a decent number of watts. As you can see down in the corner, we're still sitting at like 330. And here what I'm doing is I'm just letting a little bit of a gap open up between myself and this rider. Maybe someone's going to come past me. Now my sprint has essentially started. You're going to see me come around this dude and start the chase on that rider that's up the road. By the time I'm at the top of this hill, I look back and I've got a pretty decent gap to the rider behind me. I was ready to stand up and start my sprint again here, coming around the corner. But as you will see, that's not necessary. 198 beats per minute. That shouldn't even be physically possible according to science. But here we are at the Masters National Championship road race, leaving nothing on the line.
He's already Here he comes across the line.
And that, my friends, is how you win a Masters National Championship. Thanks for watching. Woo! Check out our sponsors in the description. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.